be true? If so, say I do. I do.
All right, please take a seat in the witness stand. Watch your step on the way up. There's a slight incline there. Mr. McDonald.
Good morning. Will you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Pamela Colleen Muxfeld. Last name is capital M-U-X, F as in Frank, E-L-D-T.
Ms. Muxfield, where do you live?
Fergus Falls.
Are you from there?
I was born in St. Paul, but moved to Fergus Falls when I was like in first grade.
Ms. Muxfield, how do you know Carol Mitchell?
Carol is my aunt on my mom's side of the family.
Your mother's sister?
Yes,
And what is your mother's name?
Dolores
Muxfield?
Lindholm.
Lindholm. Are you aware how many siblings are in Carol Mitchell's family?
Yes, there's six, or there
Six.
was six.
Is Carol Mitchell also your godmother?
She is.
How long have you known Carol Mitchell?
Since I was born.
I'm not going to ask you your age. Ms. Muxfield, at some point, were you asked to take on a role for Carol Mitchell?
I was asked to become her power of attorney like in May of '23.
You were obviously present and aware when Rod Mitchell passed away?
Yes, I wasn't present, but I was notified right away.
I'm sorry, but you were aware of the grieving and such?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain, if you know, what led to Carol Mitchell asking you to become power of attorney?
After Rod's passing, Rod's sisters and Nicole were helping her to put the affairs in order. And so she just felt that it was being deceitful and they were trying to find out more than they wanted to do. And she wanted somebody else to take over that role. So she had reached out to my mother and asked her, and she told her that she was too old to take on that part and that I would be a good fit for that. So Carol reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to help her. And I said I would do whatever I needed to do to make her feel comfortable and to put things in order.
And so that appointment as power of attorney was formalized?
Yes, and I believe it was like in early June that year in '23.
Can you tell us the sorts of things that you've assisted with since taking on that role?
We've did some different things at our bank, just to making sure that things are being tracked and looked at properly. Helped her advise her on a couple of different things when she was moving out of the house. She had some questions, and just some basic answers, kind of as a sounding board for her when, she's been stressed or, things are complicated, or asking different questions of what she should do.
Is it accurate that Carol Mitchell communicates with you by text message?
Yes, quite often.
Has Carol Mitchell ever expressed concerns to you about the defendant, Nicole Mitchell?
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
Through many messages, and I know that they were submitted also, that after either talking to her or they had conversations through text messages, Carol would feel uncomfortable, she felt threatened, she was scared, and different things of that sort, so she would reach out.
Are you aware of the probate court process that Carol Mitchell went through?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware, did she ever express concerns about the defendant through that process?
She had concerns about it because she wasn't all aware of what the probate process would be, So she was, having concerns as to how it was all going to fall into place, why it was happening, and things of that sort. And I understood it that a lot of the probate stuff took place is because there wasn't a will in place, or on a couple of the insurance things that the beneficiary wasn't listed.
Ms. Muxfeld, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibits 98 and 99. We need to,
Your Honor.
can we delete, there we go.
Let's just back up and try again, Mr. McDonald.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, no. I'm removing the,
Are you asking to,
well, I was
Show the
asking to
exhibit.
show the witness, Your Honor, but I don't want to publish it if it's not been received.
correct, so, but I think you need to give direction then, once you're making that request to show the witness one more time. All right.
I removed my device because I didn't want anything improperly displayed.
All right, why don't you clear yours then, Sarah? All right, let's back up one step, if you can start with that. Again, the process one more time.
All right. Nope.
All right. We're going to have to work through this, this technology issue. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll just have you excused until we correct it. And so, Ms. Muxfeld, I'll ask you to step down from the witness stand at this time. Ms. Muxfeld, I'll have you retake the witness stand again. Watch your step on the way up. And Ms. Muxfeld, I'll remind you that you're still under oath.
Okay.
All right. Mr. McDonald, you may inquire.
Ms. Muxfeld, I'm going to back up a few steps here. Do you know Nicole Mitchell?
Yes.
How long have you known Ms. Mitchell?
I first met her when Carol and Rod first met, before they were married. And so we knew of her. I mean, she was around for some holidays, or if they came to town and things like that, very family events.
So you've known her quite a while.
Yes.
In the months leading up to April 2024, did Ms. Nicole Mitchell ever reach out or communicate with you?
She reached out to me in, I believe it was like in May or early June of '23, after her father had passed.
Would that have been your last conversation with her of substance?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say you're not particularly close with Nicole Mitchell?
We are not close, no.
Moving forward to 2024, did Nicole Mitchell have any contact with you about concerns over Carol Mitchell's health?
Not in '24. When she reached out to me in May of '23, she did.
May or June,
May or June timeline,
but nothing in 2024?
not that I recall.
Ms. Muxfeld, did Carol Mitchell reach out to you after her home was broken into?
Yes, the morning of.
Ms. Muxfeld, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibits 98 and 99. Sorry. Do you recognize Exhibit 98?
Yes.
Can you tell us what Exhibit 98 is without reading anything specific?
It was just it was a text message to me from Carol with some concerns again that she had after having contact with Nicole.
Okay. And Exhibit 99?
Yep, that would be the last part of it.
Is it accurate to say this is two photographs of a lengthier text message?
Yes,
And is this a true and accurate photograph of that message as it existed on that day?
yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to offer 98 and 99.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 98 and 99 are received.
Your Honor, I would ask to publish 98 and 99 at this time.
You may.
Ms. Muxfeld, first of all, can you tell us the date that you received this?
Sunday, June 25th.
Do you know the year?
It was probably 2023.
This would have been
Hang on a
bef-
second, Mr. McDonald. Ms. Muxfeld, if you could speak up and just a little bit closer, you don't need to be right into the mic, but if you could speak up, you're coming across a little soft-spoken.
Okay. It would have been in 2023.
There's no doubt in your mind this message was before Carol Mitchell's home was broken into.
Correct.
So we're talking about the summer of 2023.
Yes.
Okay. Could you read this message? And if you need me to zoom in, please let me know.
Hi, Pam. I am so worried. Nicole is determined to take me to the cleaners, I think. That hearing on July 5th is supposed to be virtual, but I am going to call my lawyer tomorrow to see if maybe I, and you if you can, be in the lawyer's office to watch it. I don't care if she gets that CD of Rod's, and there are 2 checks from Rod's sister's Lori that passed away from her estate. Nick can have them, but the house and everything else is mine, and she will have to.
And next, I'm asking to publish Exhibit 99.
You may.
Okay. Can you please resume the remainder of the message that's shown on this text?
Everything else is mine, and she will have to wait till I die for anything from that, but I am scared. She has gotten so greedy.
So, Ms. Muxfeld, would it be accurate to say that as far back as June 2023, Carol Mitchell was concerned about Nicole Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Muxfeld, did Carol Mitchell ever relay any conversations to you about her biological son Jonathan and possible inheritance?
Yes.
Can you describe that conversation?
When I first met with Carol to go to her attorney's office to become her power of attorney, the will and everything was already taken care of, and it was just more so the finalizing it and signing it and getting those matters into place. And at that time, she had in her will everything would be left half to Jonathan and half to Nicole.
Did Carol Mitchell ever relay to you any conversations that she had with Nicole Mitchell about that arrangement?
She voiced some frustrations that it was commented that since Jonathan wasn't her biological, or since he was her biological son that she had given up for adoption, that he shouldn't get anything.
Those were Nicole Mitchell's statements as relayed to you by Carol Mitchell?
Yes. And it was mentioned on numerous times.
And fast forwarding to mid-April 2024, again, just to be clear, did Nicole Mitchell ever contact you or inform you that she was coming to check on Carol Mitchell?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Muxfeld. I have no further questions.
Mr. Ringstrom.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Muxfeld.
Good morning.
Ms. Muxfeld, when did Carol Mitchell get her own will?
I believe those proceedings started right after Rod had passed. That they had made up the new one. Whether she had one before that, I was not aware.
Okay. And let's draw a distinction, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. There were proceedings related to Rod's estate. Are you saying there was a separate legal procedure at Carol Mitchell's attorney's office to create a will?
I just know that one was being created to update the will so that Rod's name wasn't on it. I don't know if there was one prior to that with both of them on there. I never saw any of that.
Okay.
I was just with her when the new one was getting done.
Okay. And that was after you became Carol Mitchell's power of attorney?
Correct. I think that was in early June when I was up there the first time,
Okay.
23.
But it's your testimony that Carol Mitchell does have a will,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Roderick Mitchell, however, did die without a will. That's your understanding?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And I'm not asking you lawyer questions. You can answer only what you know.
Yep.
But is it your understanding that Roderick Mitchell and Carol Mitchell were legally married?
Yes.
And so when Roderick Mitchell died without a will, I mean, she was the widow. She was the surviving spouse, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you never saw a document, whether a will or even a handwritten note from Roderick Mitchell about the idea that anybody but Carol Mitchell would get his money when he was gone, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so whatever was going to happen with Roderick Mitchell's estate without a will was kind of going to be up to the court process or the court system. Is that your understanding?
I guess I always understood that if they were married and something happened with him, it would automatically become the spouse, which in this case would have been Carol.
Of course. Very good. Ms. Muxfeld, I want to ask you about the window of time from March of 2023 until April of 2024. And so really, we're talking about when Rod Mitchell passes to the incident in April 2024, okay?
Okay?
During that window of time, did you escort or attend any of Carol Mitchell's medical appointments?
I did not.
I understand you are Carol Mitchell's power of attorney and have been since May of 2023. Did you ever become involved in paying Carol Mitchell's bills?
No. She takes care of that.
Okay. Did you have any involvement in what charities she supported or what money she may have sent to anybody else?
No.
And you had testified that you helped Carol Mitchell move out of the house, but that would have happened after April of 2024, correct?
Correct, it was in May.
Okay. And just so we're 100% clear, that happened after the incident that we're talking about here?
Yes.
All right. Your mother is Dolores Lindholm, is that true?
Correct.
And normally, and you correct me if I'm wrong, she would go by D, or people would call her D? Okay. Ms. Muxfeld, did you ever suggest to Nicole Mitchell or to anyone else that when Carol Mitchell was not able to take care of herself, that she could live with your mother, D?
Yes.
And your mother, Dee, is in fact older than Carol Mitchell, correct?
Yes.
Would it be a fair statement that at least at some points in their lives, your mother, Dee, and Carol Mitchell were not always close?
They've gone back and forth with different things, yes.
And in May of 2023, I believe it was your testimony that it was determined your mother, Dolores Lindholm, was actually probably too old to be Carol Mitchell's power of attorney.
Correct.
Okay,
That's what she had told Carol.
okay. So it's your understanding that your mother actually told Carol Mitchell that your mother was too old, is that correct?
Yep.
All right. The impression that you got from Carol Mitchell leading up to your becoming power of attorney was that Nicole Mitchell and her aunts on her side were being deceitful, is that correct?
Correct.
Was it your understanding that perceived or actual deceitfulness was about like money and things of that nature?
I think that Carol felt like they weren't being honest with her, and she felt like things were being taken out of the house when Rod passed, and they were there to help with things, and questions, and she just felt like everyone was doing everything behind her back and not letting her make decisions or do things that she was capable of doing.
Okay. Had you been present for any of the conversations between Nicole Mitchell and Carol Mitchell?
No.
And you talked about how Carol Mitchell became uncomfortable with, I think it was the text messages and phone calls that she got from Nicole Mitchell, is that correct?
Correct.
Was she talking about the text messages and phone calls she got from Nicole Mitchell in the context of feeling that was deceitful?
I think she always felt threatened, and she was scared because it was always asking things, or like she was trying to take over things, wanted her to come down there and live with her, and she wasn't ready to make those moves, and she just felt like she was not being able to make her own decisions for what she wanted to do.
Yeah. Now, this is my word, not yours, and not Carol's. Was it your perception that she felt badgered by Nicole Mitchell about this stuff?
Yes,
Like it was a lot coming from Nicole
yes.
Mitchell? Okay. You recall your last exchange with Nicole Mitchell was it sometime in the summer of 2023?
I believe it was in May of '23.
Okay.
Ballparkish. I know it was after Rod's passing, and stuff. She had called me one day, and had some concerns about Carol and her health.
And that's a long time ago, but how long do you think that phone call was?
I'd probably say 10, 15 minutes,
Okay.
maybe.
After Nicole Mitchell made that call to you, and I think you said that the two of you really haven't historically been close?
Correct.
Okay. Were you able to follow up with Carol Mitchell's physicians about those concerns?
I didn't follow up with her doctors with it. I guess I just took my own take on it from dealing with her and being around her and seeing how her actions were, that I didn't have those same concerns.
Had you, did you, following that call, sort of check on Carol Mitchell's living situation, maybe to sort of adapt the home situation to be safer for her?
We'd been up there quite a few times. We'd been in contact with her and different things, and I never had any red flags that showed up. Like one of the conversations when we were talking was things were like in a disarray or things like that, and I didn't see that. The only part that was probably in a disarray was the back corner bedroom, which they'd emptied out a hutch and put everything into boxes. So that room was probably about the only one that was in a disarray. Everything else was just how Carol kept things.
Okay. So, but it would be a fair statement that after the call from Nicole Mitchell, you didn't really follow up with other people to corroborate or to check on those concerns?
I had reached out to her friend Lori and her neighbor Penny and things like that, and just asked, we've all been kind of watching over her, and just if things seem out of the ordinary or things of that sort, or any red flags, that we've all been in contact, and we haven't had those.
After Rod Mitchell's death, had anyone come to live with Carol Mitchell or stay with her on a regular basis?
No.
In your understanding, Ms. Muxfeld, who ended up with Rod Mitchell's estate?
Carol.
Okay. And by the time that process was completed, you were the power of attorney?
Correct.
Okay. And there was some talk in that text message, and we can pull it up if we need, but let's just go on memory, that there's something about Lori or Lori's money or something like that. Do you recall that?
Rod had a sister, Lori, that passed away.
Uh-huh.
And from my understanding with Carol, that there was some checks that were sent to her siblings
Uh-huh.
that were given to them. And
Okay.
so, to my understanding, that was from her, whether it was some life insurance or she was, sharing some of her, whatever she had in her estate or whatever.
Okay. And you may or may not know what the amount was, but was it your understanding that it was some thousands of dollars?
I don't remember what the total was talked about, but I want to think there was a couple of checks for like $10,000 each.
Okay. Was it your understanding that ultimately that money did in fact go to Carol Mitchell when the estate was all settled?
I believe so because it was rods that would go to Carol as a survivor.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Ms. Muxfeld. I have no further questions.
Mr. McDonald?
Ms. Muxfeld, you referenced a couple names a moment ago, Lori and Penny. Do you know their full names?
Nope.
Can you tell us who those individuals would be? I mean,
Penny is Carol's neighbor right next door. They've lived next door to each other for many, many years. So they've always talked in the backyards and stuff like that. And then her friend Lori has been a good friend of hers for many years. I think they live like by Cormorant or something, but they've been very close for many, many years.
so would it be accurate that these two individuals are part of Carol Mitchell's social group?
Yes,
Okay. Friends?
yes, very close.
Ms. Muxfeld, are you aware if Carol Mitchell has any delinquent bills at this current time?
I don't believe so.
You are aware and she doesn't, or you're not aware?
I'm not aware that she has any, but usually she has said if she's gotten anything that she's called about, like if she's gotten something that doesn't look like an invoice. Like there was a magazine one time, and she's like, is this her invoice? I said, no, it's a fake one.
Are you aware if Carol Mitchell is subject to any collection type actions currently?
Not that I'm aware of.
And would she run these type of things by you if she had questions?
Yep, yes.
Are you aware of Carol Mitchell being scammed out of any money to date?
Not that I'm aware of.
If she had concerns, do you believe she would, again, run them by you?
Yes,
Now, Ms. Muxfeld, you are the power of attorney for Carol Mitchell, correct?
correct?
Does that power of attorney give you access to her medical records?
Yes,
Okay, have you ever accessed her medical records?
I have not.
Are you aware of any other individual who would have the right to access Carol Mitchell's medical records?
No,
Was that a no?
that's a no. Yep.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Mr. Inkster?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Muxfeld, again, by the point that Roderick Mitchell's estate was being dealt with in the court system, you were the power of attorney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Were you aware of any bills that Carol Mitchell had failed to pay before the finalization of that estate?
No,
Okay. Were you aware of any bills that had to be discharged after the finalization of that estate because Carol Mitchell failed to pay them?
no,
Okay. You testified as to access to Carol Mitchell's medical records. You also have access to her financial records.
correct.
When is the last audit you conducted of Carol Mitchell's financial records?
We met with Wells Fargo, trying to think, see, I would say early this spring, we were in contact with them and went back through things.
Spring of 2025.
Correct.
Okay. Speaking of her medical records, of Carol Mitchell's medical records, you did and have been aware of Carol Mitchell's diagnosis for Alzheimer's.
Correct.
And I'm not intending to ask you any details, but do you have any other family members, friends, or close personal acquaintances in your life who have dealt with Alzheimer's?
Yes.
Okay, so you are familiar with the progression of that disease?
Yes, I took care of my mother-in-law for 5 years.
And do you understand that people with Alzheimer's can present them in very different ways from your own experience?
Correct.
Sometimes people with Alzheimer's can appear extremely lucid and sharp.
Yep.
And in fact, Carol Mitchell has, it's my opinion, you tell me what you think, has, I think, a very elegant and refined voice and way of speaking about things.
She does, yes.
But that doesn't actually mean she always tracks everything that's going on. Is that a fair statement?
I think she has times where she's more flustered, so it seems progressively worse when it's not.
So it's your testimony that, your opinion, it's not really progressively worse for Carol.
Yeah, I mean, it's a disease that's not going to go away, and we know we're going to see progression as it comes. I think stress and different things like that can cause days more of it. Then you see higher signs of it than the next day.
Thank you, Ms. Muxfeld. No further questions.
Mr. McDonald?
Ms. Muxfeld, since becoming power of attorney, do you feel like you've kept a close watch on Carol Mitchell?
Yes.
And are you aware of anything going on in her life on April 22nd, 2024 that would require an emergent break-in to her home?
No.
Nothing further.
No further questions.
Ms. Muxfeld, you may step down. Again, watch your step.